So welcome to a Thursday's session. Today it's about reported speech. All right. What is reported speech? What is reported speech? Any one of you? Namaste, teachers. What is reported speech? I am speaking to you.
The message is directly said to others people. That is a reported speech. That is directly when we are giving a direct message.
Vijay Lakshmi ma'am. That was wonderful. Vijay Lakshmi ma'am, you told me when we are sending a message directly, that's reported speech.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now you are speaking to me. You are telling me that this is you are conveying the message to me directly. This is reported.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then what is direct speech? If this is reported speech, what is direct speech then? Yes, anyone?
Conveying the message.
Can we put it this way?
Message directly.
When somebody when they are speaking face to face.
Face to face, yes.
Yeah.
When we speak to a person in front of us, it is
All
direct
right.
speech.
Okay.
Reported speech
Phone.
when we say that somebody said this, likewise we can say that is reported speech.
Yeah, so it is happening. It is happening between two people. Right now, the speech, the dialogue is happening between two people.
Yes, ma'am. The conversation between first person and second person.
Fine. So when two people are speaking face to face, speaking over phone, fine. So that is direct speech. Now I want to report, I want to convey what was spoken to another person. I convey or somebody else conveys what the two of us were speaking. That becomes reported speech. Yes? Agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, teachers, yeah. Now,
Yes.
this chapter is always a challenge. This particular, chapter in grammar has always been a little challenging for our kids, right? All the time when they have to convert what we say in direct speech, usually, I mean, this is primary, class 4 and class 5. That's the class when we actually introduce direct speech to reported speech, that exercise. And that is usually a little challenging in the beginning because the child wonders how it should be done. A part of the direct speech is still in his mind, even as he is reporting. And hence he fails to get it right completely. He gets it partially right, but sometimes he doesn't get it completely right. All right, but we can always succeed, if we keep telling the child, if we keep practicing, if we keep helping him to practice. All right. Okay, so here it is. The slide tells you that now we often need to tell what someone else said. For instance, Asha Devi ma'am says, she tells Vijay Lakshmi ma'am, I have logged in to the online meeting. Okay, and now Rajeshwari ma'am wonders what Asha Devi ma'am was sharing with Vijay Lakshmi ma'am. So Vijay Lakshmi ma'am turns to her and she tells her, Asha Devi ma'am told me that she had logged into the online meeting, right? So she's reporting what was spoken between Asha Devi ma'am and Vijay Lakshmi ma'am. Am I right? Got it, teachers? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, suppose Hari tells Vijay, he says, I am going to watch the IPL match tomorrow. So let's go seasonal. This is the season of IPL match. All right. So he says, I am going to watch the IPL match tomorrow. Now Vijay is quite jealous. He says, Amma, look at this. Hari told me that he was going to watch the IPL match the following day. And I have to just do it at home. I have to just watch it from home. So what was Vijay doing? he was communicating what Hari told him in first person. Right? Yes, teachers?
Yes, ma'am.
So could we
Yes,
tell our
ma'am.
children?
Yes.
So we could,
Yes.
when we are in a live class, I just wish it was a live session. All right. I call two children here and I say, I ask them to have a dialogue between them. So I can take this dialogue, where Ram said to Sam, he says, I'm going to the market. So he tells him that you have two students in front of you in the class. You ask them to have a dialogue. I'm going to the market. And then Sam turns and tells Ram, and he tells another boy in the class, say Venu. He tells, Ram told me that he was going to the market. All right. Ram told me that he was going to the market. Right. So you can have another dialogue. You can get two children to speak. You can get two groups, two rows of children. One speaks to the other. One student from one row speaks to the other student. He tells, I have completed all my work. And you can ask that student to report to the next row. Harini told me that she had completed all her work. Well, that way it is understood better. When we demonstrate it in the class, in a live class, when we demonstrate it with students in the class, the reported speech, that part is understood better. We can try this with various tenses. Okay, suppose she says, I have lost my pen. And she turns and says, Rani told me that she had lost her pen. I have lost becomes she had lost. Right? So you can draw the attention of the children to these specific aspects which changed when one dialogue was happening in direct speech and the next was happening in reported speech. Yes, teachers? So that is what you'll have to tell them, that certain aspects, when it is reported, certain aspects of the sentence changes. Now, what I think is easier to do is teach them in fragments. What happens? Just a second. All right. So essentially, when we change direct speech to reported speech, all right, 6 steps have to be kept in mind. First is changing the reporting verb, right? What is that? Said, told, all of that is a reporting verb. Rani told me, the reporting verb. Now, Rani is speaking to Vani. She speaks, right? Now, when I report, I'll say Rani told Vani. That's my reporting verb. Now, when I speak in direct speech, in first person, I have to, in English, when we write, we have to put it in quotes. When it is direct speech, in stories or anywhere else, when we read a dialogue, when we read a sentence in dialogue form, we have to put it in quotes. So the quote has to be removed when you're going to report. So that's step 2. So here, if you can pin my board, maybe I can tell you a sentence. It says, Velu, I have prepared well. Now, Velu is speaking. I'll have to put it in quotes. All right. Ravi says, I am happy to hear that. All right. So these are anything that is spoken in first person in direct speech, you have put it in quotes. Now there's another question we give. Velu says, Velu to Ravi, I had my breakfast this morning. All right. So all of these sentences in direct speech is in quotes. Now, when we report it, we will have to remove the quotes. We will not have the quotes when we report it. Clear? So the sentence would be Velu told Ravi that he had prepared well. There is no quote. And every sentence in reported speech ends with a full stop. It ends with a period. There is no question mark. Suppose it's an interrogative sentence. Where are you going? In direct speech has a question mark, but in reported speech, there is no question mark. There's an exclamation. Wow, that was amazing. In reported speech, he exclaimed that it was just amazing with a full stop. No exclamatory mark in a reported speech sentence, in a sentence in reported speech. So we will remove the comma and the quotation. And if there is a question mark or an interrogative statement, we just end it with a full stop. So every sentence in reported speech ends with a full stop, right? Now we have to supply a suitable conjunction, change the pronoun, change of tense, change of adverbs, time and place. So these are the 6 steps that we can list in one corner of the board. And then we can, with examples, we can explain each of these. So to one side, you have the 6 steps that requires changes when a direct speech is written in reported speech. And then with each sentence as examples, in small fragments, we can just take the reporting verb part. Then, of course, we have to remove the commas and quotations. That's a given. And then we can tell them how I'm supplying the conjunction. And then you can go to the change of pronouns part. Then you can deal with the change of tense part. Then with the change of adverbs part. And then we can combine and put it all together. Right? So how do we do it? So this way, I have a sentence here. I hope it's visible to all of you. Yes, Lakshmi ma'am from RSK teaching.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
Okay. Good. So the sentence in direct speech says, Lakshmi ma'am, can you read it? You are a teacher and suppose you're stating this.
Teacher, children, I have decided to cancel the test today.
That was wonderful, ma'am. You said it wonderfully well.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Children, I have decided to cancel the test today. Wow, it will be music to their ears. Suppose we say this in class. You agree? If as many of you as possible could come on camera, it will be most welcome, teachers. I would love to see you on camera. All the beautiful faces, just as we look at our children every day in the class. Okay, so Lakshmi ma'am just told her children, I have decided to cancel the test today. Lakshmi ma'am, can you come once again? Because you said it so well.
Yes, ma'am. Shall I repeat the sentence again, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Children, I have decided to cancel the test today.
Okay, immediately, what will they say? The teacher, now somebody else in the next section, somebody has been listening what Lakshmi ma'am has been telling in her class. They'll immediately go and say, the teacher told the children in 5A that here it is a she, that she had decided to cancel the test that day. Right? So that's the sentence. Now I go back to my previous slide and I just try to compare and contrast. Now I said first step is change of reporting verb. So I told you we will have it written on one side of the board. We will have our 6 steps written on one side of the board, right? Now here it says teacher, she is addressing the children. Obviously, it is very evident from the sentence that we have here. So here it is, the teacher is telling the children. So we say the teacher told the children. This is the reporting verb because there are 2 subjects here. The teacher is addressing the children. Suppose the teacher, there is no, children is not there, right? Suppose I do some editing here. I think I can't edit on a PowerPoint mode. You just assume, you remove the word children. Now the teacher says, I have decided to cancel the test today. And the reported speech for that will be the teacher. Can someone tell me what is the reporting verb there?
Said.
Yes, exactly. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I think that was Sumi ma'am or Brinda ma'am. I'm not too sure. All right. So the teacher said that, told the children, that will not be there. The reporting verb there will change to the teacher. Come again.
Said
Said
that
Said that. Yes.
she had she had
Yes. Go on. The answer is there for you on the screen. She had. Sumi ma'am, I think you have the speaker on.
the teacher said that she has decided to cancel the test that day.
Ma'am, I have the tense here changes to have decided.
Direct speech, no. Direct speech, no. Okay, ma'am. The teacher
Yeah,
said,
this is direct speech.
the teacher said, I have decided to cancel the test today.
No, this is done. What I'm saying is, now suppose my sentence is, this children is missing here. Okay, it's not addressed to the children. So it says teacher, right? I have decided to cancel the test today. You told me correctly that the reporting verb here will be the teacher said that she, yes, after that?
She has
Had decided, ma'am. Had
Okay, it is not a
decided.
has
She
decided
had.
because
had
both
decided.
has and have are both present perfect. Right, ma'am?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, both has and have. I mean, when the subject is singular and plural, we use has and have accordingly. All right. So here it becomes, it changes to perfect, past perfect, right? Had decided to cancel the test. And this is the adverbial today. That is the adverbial part. That changes to
That day.
that day. So here I come back. Step 1. Okay. I go back to my previous slide. 6 steps. Let me remember. Reporting verb. 1, 2, comma and quotation. Maybe I'll put remove the comma and quotation as 1. Second, change the reporting verb. Third, supply a suitable conjunction. Fourth, change of pronoun. Fifth, change of tense. Sixth, change of adverbs. I'm repeating again. Remove the commas and quotations in reported speech. 1, step 1. 2, change the reporting verb. Provide a conjunction, suitable conjunction. Change the pronoun, change the tense, and change the adverb of time and place. Now let me see if that is done. Step 1. Now look at the sentence, the colored sentence. The commas and the commas.
10 மணிக்கு training முடிஞ்சிரும்.
Yeah, thank you. So we have removed the quotation marks here, right? And then we have supplied the correct reporting verb. Step 2, the teacher told the children, right? And then we have provided a suitable adjective, the conjunction that, right? Now the pronouns change. I have decided. When you report, if the I is a female, it is she. If the I is a male, it's a he, right? Have decided is the tense. I changed the tense to had decided, and to cancel the test remains the same, no change. And today changes to that day. Today is an adverb, it changes to that day. So step 1, there are no speech marks, done. Step 2, told, reporting verb. Step 3, conjunction, yes, that's provided. Step 4, change the pronoun appropriately, right? I changes to she and he. Step 4. Step 5, change the tense. Have decided becomes had decided. Step 6, change the adverb. Today changes to that day. And we can give more examples. Once they have understood what they need to do, we can now, take each part and give various examples based on this, right? So it will be the reporting verb here will be said, it will be told, and it should not be. Teachers, let me give you an example. Suppose I say, let me keep the sentence here as it is. Suppose I say, she said to me. Now, who is going to? Archana ma'am? No. Sentamari ma'am, Parameshwari ma'am? Who is going to volunteer to give me the answer for this? Who's going to volunteer? Parameshwari ma'am. Darshana ma'am. Parameshwari ma'am, fine. Yes. Okay.
Could you
Now, if I say, he said to me, he told to me, he told me. Which one will you go with? Which one will you go with? He said to me.
He told me.
he
told me.
told
He
me.
told me. Ravi said to me. Ram told to me. Kiran told me. Which is correct?
told me.
Kiran told me.
Kiran told me, and he said to Ram.
No, we'll take one at a time. We'll take one. We are kids. We are in class 4 and class 5. So you have to tell the children, said to me, told me, which seems appropriate.
Told me.
Yes, told me seems appropriate, right? Suppose he said, when it is just one person, one subject, the teacher said that, right? And not the teacher told that. The teacher said that when there's just one subject, when it is just the teacher, making a statement and which is being reported. So it is the teacher said that, right? Now, the other reporting verbs, which we don't generally introduce, in a big way in class 4 and 5, are the interrogative sentences and the exclamatory sentences. Like, she asked if I was joining her, for the match, right? I told you I was going to the IPL match. She asked me if I was available. She asked me if I could help her. She asked me if I knew the answer, right? So asked if. So that is with the interrogative sentence. Now she exclaimed in happiness that her vacations had begun. Such a lot of happiness, when vacation begins. So she exclaimed happily that she was visiting the Andaman and Nicobar Islands that year. She had planned to visit somebody, right? So she exclaimed that she had won the quiz competition. All right. Or he shouted, in pain that he had got hurt and he was bleeding. So these are all the other reporting verbs which we don't use as much in class 4 and 5. In class 4 and 5, we keep it with the statement sentences generally. So I shall focus more on that area, right? So we go to the next slide. Now in direct speech, the words are spoken and repeated exactly the way they are spoken. Like the sentence says here, Raju said, I am having a new bicycle. All right. Now this is Raju said. There's one subject and he's saying something. So Raju is saying something. So when you report, you just have to say what Raju said, right? It says, Raju said that he was having a new bicycle. Now, what are the things? I told you the 6 steps. What all did we use? What all did we change? Raju said. So the reporting verb is just said here. He didn't tell somebody. So we don't change said to told. Said remains said. Please look at the next slide. Said. Raju said. Here, I come back. I'm sorry. I'm having the sentence right here. I'm sorry. Raju said. Now I have removed the speech marks. That's the first thing I have done. Step 1. Step 2, Raju said. So I have kept my reporting verb as said. I have removed the speech marks. I have to provide a conjunction to link what Raju said, right? So I have to provide the conjunction there which says that. Now I is the pronoun. Now you can't say Raju said that I was having a new bicycle. It is not I who am having a new bicycle. It's Raju who is having a new bicycle. So I'll say Raju said that he. I've supplied the suitable pronoun. I've made the necessary change to the pronoun. Next, I told you about change the tense. Am having will be was having. Am having is present continuous changes to past continuous. Okay, we can list the steps, what we have to do in tenses a little later, right? So I am having, the tense has changed. It's become was having. A new bicycle doesn't change. And there is no adverb here. So there's no change on that count. Clear? Yes, teachers?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay. So can you
Yes.
provide me one example? Something similar. Can one of you just volunteer to provide one example? Say, Meena said. Is there a Meena in our group? Deepa said. I think Deepa ma'am is unmuting. Deepa said. Deepa said. Suppose I say, Deepa said, I had a tough time logging into the online class. Yes, Deepa ma'am, did you have a tough time?
No, ma'am, I have joined. I have joined.
Okay. Suppose Deepa ma'am says, Deepa ma'am, yes, please provide a sentence, a similar sentence. Maybe in the same tense also. That's fine.
Deepa said,
Deepa said,
I am going to a temple.
I have bought a new sari.
I have paid the bill.
I have paid the bill. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, Meena ma'am, great. Meena ma'am, now you report what Deepa ma'am said. Deepa said
That he had paid the bill.
she
Had paid the bill.
pronoun has changed.
Yes,
Has-
yes, ma'am.
Have paid has become
Had paid
had paid. The tense has changed. The bill.
the bill.
Okay. So Deepa ma'am, can you provide an adverbial? Can you make it yesterday? I've paid the bill today.
Mm.
I've paid the bill this morning. Deepa ma'am, can you have that extension?
Deepa ma'am said that she paid the bill day before yesterday,
That morning.
that morning.
That
I said this morning, right? I have paid the bill this morning, right? She had paid the bill.
Yesterday.
No, this morning.
The previous day.
Okay,
Yes,
I think there is some lag in listening here. I said this morning. I have paid the bill this morning. So that
morning.
adverb
That morning.
That morning.
Change to that.
This
that
morning becomes that morning.
that morning.
That
Okay, now having said that, now we can tell them in fragments, right? So each part. Now we can go to those fragments. Okay, now I want to, you to demonstrate this in the class for them to understand better why it is very important that we do it rightly, do the reported speech correctly. So you can see on the screen, there's a boy Arun with his grandma, right? Now, Arun said to Vinay, now Arun meets Vinay, his friend, his neighbor, and he said, my grandma tells me amazing stories. All right, now there's an Arun whom you can see on the screen, and his loving grandma who really, tells him great stories as grandmas usually do, right? So Arun said to Vinay, my grandma tells me amazing stories. So I'm going to have an Arun in the class. I'm going to have a Vinay in the class. Okay, right, teachers? There's one boy, you're going to pull up Arun, and another student, Vinay. Now you're going to have Anil standing next to them, right? And Anil is overhearing what Arun said to Vinay, what Arun told Vinay. Oh, my grandmother, that's how he wins in all these storytelling competitions. Every time there's a storytelling, he jumps, ma'am, I can tell you a wonderful story. And he always, his stories are loved. Oh, now I know how he knows so many stories, because his grandma tells him amazing stories. All right. So you have a student, Arun, you have a student, Vinay, and Arun is talking to Vinay. He's telling the statement. Now you have an Anil in the class, and you have an other boy in the class, another student in the class. So that's Bala. So there are 4 students here you have lined up. Arun has to speak to Vinay, and Anil hears what Arun speaks and he reports it to Bala. Clear, teachers? So this is the scene in our classroom. All right. Now imagine if our Anil was not strong enough in reported speech. What if he had told, now suppose, Anil had told him, Arun told Vinay that my grandma told him amazing stories. Now Bala will wonder, your grandma? But you told me that you have never seen your grandma. Right? Suppose he says, oh no, it's not my grandma. It's his grandma. He corrects. All right. He says, it's not my grandma who told him stories. Right? He says, then he'll say, okay, I get it now. I'll change. He'll says, Arun told Vinay that his grandma told, now look at this mother sentence, tells me amazing stories. So he says, his grandma told me amazing stories. Arun's grandma told you amazing stories? Then why don't you know any story? Oh no, I messed it up again. All right. Now he says, okay, I am going to do it right. So finally he gets it right. And he says, Arun told Vinay that his grandma told him amazing stories. So with a small session like this, where you get it wrong, if you go wrong with the pronoun, how the meaning changes. Okay, that he had bought a new bicycle, right? That is right. Suppose you say, I have bought a new bicycle, and you report to somebody saying, I have bought a new bicycle. It means the speaker has bought a new bicycle, not what you're reporting about the other person. So when the children understand these small parts in change of pronoun and how it can change the meaning if the pronoun is not changed, I think they will quickly grasp how to change the pronouns to make it not to change the meaning in the reported speech. The meaning in the reported speech should not change. So did you get this small slide? Did you get what we were trying to convey to you through this slide? Yes, teachers?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Get them to role play. If you can get them to role play like this, and if you can make an error, if you can make a conscious error in a role play and the meaning changes, and when the child understands that the meaning is not conveyed the right way, then he'll be very careful and he'll understand what is to be conveyed. Now, what is to be conveyed here is clear. Arun's grandma told Arun amazing stories. So you can now get it right. You can say Arun told Vinay. Whose grandma? Whose grandma is this we see on the screen? Arun's grandma. So you can say Arun told Vinay that Arun's grandma told Arun amazing stories. We can't say that because we have to use pronoun. That's why we have the wonderful, these words, pronouns in English. So to make it easy, to make it simple, to make it sound good, we say Arun told Vinay that his grandma told him amazing stories. Now it's communicated correctly. So you have a wrong communication, and then you understand how it is communicated wrongly, and then you get the right communication. I think to an extent the children will understand when we play these small, interactive games with them to teach them. So here, we come back. Now, rule 1, we know we have to remove all the speech marks. That's said and done. That's understood, hopefully. Now we'll have declarative sentences. I told you we will largely be discussing declarative sentences where said says said that. Said to will become he said to me. He told that. Says. Now there's this, reporting verb that is says. All right. Now let me tell you this. I call Manju ma'am. Now it says, Manju ma'am, I am unable to log into this meeting. Can you help me? Now Manju ma'am calls the head. Now she says, Sindhuja ma'am, Anu ma'am is on the line. She tells me that she is unable to log into the meeting. Okay, she says that she is unable to log into the meeting, right? So there it is still a present. So here it is in present tense. She says she is unable to log in, right? So that remains here. It remains says. Said is, it's already in past. Say is present. The past is said. So if the reporting verb is already in said, then it becomes said that. And suppose somebody said to somebody, it said told that. These are past. Now suppose it is says, tells, the verb doesn't change, right? There you don't make it past and you don't change the verb. Okay, I didn't say, suppose I said, I am not able to log into the meeting. She says that she is not able to log into the meeting. She didn't say she was not able to log into the meeting. I told Manju ma'am, I am unable to log into the meeting. So now Manju ma'am checks out and says, Anu ma'am tells me that she is unable to log into the meeting. She didn't make it past. She didn't make am not able to as was not able to, because the verb here is says. I am on the call right now, I'm saying it, right? So this, the tense doesn't change when the reporting verb is says or says to. And here it remains says that, tells that. Exclamatory sentences, exclaimed that, exclaimed joyfully, exclaimed in sorrow. All right, that his pet had got hurt. He exclaimed in sorrow, right? Suppose it is ordering, imperative sentences. Clean up the room in the next half hour. You know, some guests are going to come home and mother orders her children. Mother ordered the children to clean their rooms soon, right? Suppose, I think you can complete your homework and then start your project. My teacher suggested that I could complete my homework before I begin my project. So suggested. So these are the verbs that we can use here. These are the reporting verbs we can use here. Okay, then can you send me the notes? Can you help me understand this lesson? Suppose I'm asking somebody. Okay, he asked if I could help him, if I could teach him, right? Can you tell me how to open this lock? Can you tell me how to operate this? Can you help me? All right, she asked if I could help him to open the lock, right? So here in interrogative sentences, the reporting verb changes to asked, if. So that's what we say. So that is for us teachers. But for the students, to begin with in class 4 and 5, we keep with the declarative sentence. Now I told you we change the pronouns and the adverbs. The pronouns first, I told you I changes to he or she according to the person being a male or a female. My grandmother becomes his grandmother. It doesn't remain your grandmother when you're reporting, right? So my grandmother becomes his grandmother or her grandmother. Okay, we are going out. We are going to the party. They were going to the party. He told me that they were going to the party. This is our house. He told me that this was their house. Okay, this is my pen. Okay, then I say Kishore told me that that was his pen. See, that this is my pen. That was his pen, right? The pronouns change here. Okay, I am going to, get ready now. He said that he was going to get ready then. All right, keep it here. The teacher says, keep it here. The teacher asked me to keep it there, right? Now I say ago becomes before. Okay, 3 years ago, I was selected to be Miss Chennai, right? I says 3 years before, I won the Miss Chennai competition. Okay, doesn't suit me, but yet. Hence, all right, 3 years hence, you can see me be a professional swimmer. Now I say 3 years thence, she told me that she would be a professional swimmer, right? So these are the changes in the pronouns. We can list out to the children. You can take a screenshot of this just to know if we list these things separately and then we combine together and present it to them, the children are sure to understand it better. So he says, now changes in direct speech, in the case of demonstratives and adverbials, this changes to that. This is my pen. That was my pen. Then these changes to those. Okay, these are my books. Those were her books. She told me that those were her books. We already dealt with here and there. Now, okay, then I am leaving for school now. She told me that she was leaving for school then. Today changes to that day. Tonight changes to that night. All right. Last week, I'm going to watch a movie tonight. She said that she was going to watch a movie that night. Last week changes to the previous week. Tomorrow changes to the next day, the following day. I'll meet you tomorrow. She told me that she would meet me tomorrow. No, she told me that she would meet me the following day. She told me that she would meet me the next day. And then yesterday becomes the day before, the previous day, next week becomes the following week. Hello, teachers, meet you next week. Okay, she greeted us and told us that she would meet us the following week. Yes, teachers? Yes, Rachna ma'am, some clarity on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
ma'am.
Okay, so next, what has
Yes,
to
ma'am.
change? Modals. The modals have to change, right? Please look at the right side, the right column. Will becomes would, may becomes might, can becomes could, shall becomes should. Okay, I will complete this work tonight. She would complete that work that night, right? I may be missing out. I may be missing out the meeting. She said that she might not be able to come to the meeting, right? I can do all this. I can do all these sums easily. She said that she could do all those sums easily. These becomes those. I can do all of this easily. She said that she could do all of those easily, right? I shall be visiting my village next week. She said that she should be visiting her village next week. All right. And then we have the change of tense. So we saw the change of pronouns. Now teachers, come on. Now you will have to speak up. Unmute and tell me. Simple present changes to? Yes, teachers, quickly.
Simple
present changes to
Simple past.
Great. So do not eat. Okay. I do not eat this.
Change
I do not eat idlis. He said that he did not eat idlis, right? When he was a kid. Next, ate becomes simple past, ate. Now this is all about
Had.
eating. I hope you're all not hungry. Okay. Simple
Past
past,
perfect.
ate becomes
Past perfect. Had eaten.
had eaten. Yes. Simple past becomes one sentence, please.
I
I ate 6 dosas
I
this
had
morning.
bought.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
ate.
Yes, with 8. I told you I ate 6 dosas this morning. She told me that. She told me that. Come
She
on.
had eaten 6 dosas on that morning.
Wow, that's good. Okay. I will be having my breakfast now.
She
How
told
will
me
it change?
told me that she would be having her breakfast then.
Then, yeah, great. Now, next.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let's hope our children learn, because we know already we are revising and we should be very excited if our children are able to do it well. Okay. Am eating, is eating, are eating, according to the subject. That will change to? That will change to? Give me a sentence. I'm eating. I'm eating pudding.
I had been eating.
No, see,
I
I'm
had been
eating. No, present continuous. Am eating changes to past continuous.
I was eating.
Verb changes, teachers. Am eating.
She was eating. I was eating. I was eating.
She was eating. Okay. I am eating dosa now. She told me that she was eating dosa then. I'm not going to go away from dosa now. All right. She is eating dosa now. Mother told me that she was eating dosa then. Okay. They are eating dosas. They were
They were eating dosas.
Great, very good. Okay. I have eaten 6 dosas this morning.
I had eaten.
She had
She
eaten.
said that.
She had eaten.
Had
Great.
eaten.
So present perfect becomes past perfect. Okay.
Past
He has eaten. He has eaten all my, biscuits.
Had eaten. She had again
He
had
had
eaten.
all my biscuits. All right, fine. Next, has been eating, have been eating. Both become,
Has been become had been eating.
yes. I have been
I had
eating,
been eating 6 dosa.
yes. I have been eating only fruits for dinner for the last 1 month. Okay, she told me that she
Had been eating only fruits for the
past
past 6
last
months.
1 month. Great, very good. Okay. Okay. Was eating, were eating, past continuous. Was and were eating becomes
Wasn't.
had been eating, past continuous. So it becomes past perfect continuous. Okay. Give me an example.
The child was eating pulao.
Huh. When I entered the restaurant, I saw that my friends were eating dosas. When I entered the restaurant, I saw that my friends
Were eating those.
Her friends
My friends had been
were
eating.
eating. Okay.
been eating.
Are eating becomes were eating. But if it is were eating,
It becomes had
friends
been
been
eating.
eating. Yes, they were. I noticed that my friends had been eating dosas.
Had been eating those.
Yeah, okay.
had been eating dosa.
Yes. Next, had eaten, that is past perfect, remains unchanged. It doesn't change. Okay. Then had been eating, past continuous, that remains had been eating. Okay. Right? So these are the changes in the tenses. And some more examples. I am going becomes he was going, she was going. If it is a female, my friends become, suppose I say my friends, they are my friends. Now when I report, she told me that they were her friends.
Her friends.
My friends, you can't report it as my friends, her friends or his friends. Now we plan to visit Goa next month. We plan to visit. How will you report?
They
Planned to visit.
Planned.
Plan to visit
following
park or
month.
something.
Okay. This is our decision. They told me that this was
their
Their decision.
their decision.
their
Superb.
decision.
Superb. Good teachers. So there are some sites which you can actually take this link. It's a very useful link. It has some nice examples about reported speech. So you can take a screenshot of this and you can explore through this. And now I think I go out. So as I told you, please teach the children in fragments. Take each portion of what you plan to tell them. Tenses, take various tenses, give various tenses. Was going, then it becomes were going. Right? Am I right?
Can you hear me?
Am I right, teachers?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
begin
Yes,
again.
ma'am.
Eat becomes ate. Play becomes play becomes, I'm talking about tenses, change of tenses. Play becomes yes, Rajeshwari ma'am. Play becomes played. Simple present becomes simple past. Are playing becomes
Were playing.
Anuja ma'am, I'm sorry, Anuja ma'am. Are playing becomes
They're playing.
ground. Are playing becomes
Had
Bhavya ma'am. Are playing becomes
Were playing.
were playing. Right? All right, I think you're unable to unmute.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
So we have to discuss each segment. You have to discuss a set of pronouns giving examples. You have to discuss a set of verbs giving examples, a set of adverbials giving examples, and then we can join in and we can ask them to actually take a small quiz. So are you all ready to take a small quiz now? Very quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We'll take a small quiz. And Manju ma'am, can you just call out the participants so that they can unmute and answer?
Sure.
Just 10 minutes quiz. Yeah. Now I think we'll have to make up for the lost time.
Yeah, half an hour. It's okay, ma'am. We can.
All right. Now. Okay. Now teachers, let's go fast. Nitin said, I'm prepared for the
May I
exam.
try, ma'am?
Yes, please. Don't even ask me.
Nitin said that he was prepared for the exam.
He was prepared for the exam. That, said that, conjunction. I am prepared. He am prepared, was prepared for the exam. Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Next candidate. Now, these are all sentences, which we have taken from our own lessons. The characters.
Salim said that.
Salim said that he liked.
He had liked ice cream.
It is liked. It's in past tense. So past tense becomes
Past perfect.
Past perfect.
wonderful. Wonderful.
He had
Superb. Superb. So I've removed the speech marks are all gone. The no
Had
speech
liked.
marks, just a period. Reported speech just has a period. Right, teachers? Okay. Next.
Kumar said that he was going to play cricket on Sunday.
No, on that Sunday. Let's not confuse. On
The
Sunday.
following
There
Sunday.
was change there. Yes. Okay. That I am going. He was going. No speech marks and rest of the sentence. Tell the students that a portion of the sentence never even changes. Okay. Play cricket on Sunday. To play cricket on Sunday. There's no change at all. So just it's very simple. It's very, very simple for them if they know what is to be changed. Next. Next. Yes. Sujita ma'am.
Nancy said that she would be 10 years old.
Next year.
The following year.
Yes. Wow. That's nice. She would be 10 years old the following year. Yes. Next.
The man said that
True cars.
he had
Suppose,
He had driven
let me
cars.
admit, I just can't drive cars. And suppose I said, the man said, and I don't change the pronoun. I said, the man said, I drive cars. Surely I don't drive cars.
He had driven cars.
Okay, drive is what?
He drove cars.
Drive is simple.
The man said that he drives cars.
I
He
drive
drove.
cars. Drive is simple
He
present.
drove
Becomes,
Listen.
let's touch the rule book. Now and then let's touch the rule book. Simple
Drove.
present becomes
Said that
I
he
drove
drives.
cars.
He will.
Yes, ma'am. The man said that he drives cars.
okay. If I say says, I will take your answer, but it is said.
The man said that he
It
drove
becomes
cars.
simple past. Drove. Now the same sentence. Let me tweak it like this. The man says, I drive cars. The man says that
Now the man says he drives cars.
he drives cars. That's perfectly right. Please put the same sentence on two sides for the children to understand how to deal with it when the reporting verb is says. There the tense does not change, right? You can tell them that with the same example because there's an element of confusion here. Otherwise, drive is simple present. It changes to simple past, drove. Very good. Now, want.
Radha said that she wants to read a
Want
book.
is simple present, right? I want.
She wanted to read a book that day.
She wants.
Super. Great. Wonderful. That's nice. Next.
Sita said that her mom asked her to sleep early that night.
You're
Sita
very
said
careful. You're very smartly changed all the pronouns because I think you don't want to sleep early tonight.
My mom had asked her to sleep
Her mom-
early that night.
Sita said that her mom asked her to sleep
Had asked.
early that night.
Excellent. 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 So somebody gave me the perfect answer. I remember said that. My mom becomes her mom. Asked becomes had asked. Asked is past tense becomes past perfect. Me is a pronoun again changes to her. To sleep early tonight. Tonight is an adverb here that becomes that night. Right? Tonight becomes, we saw in the rule in the rule table, you know, that tonight becomes that night. Next.
Ranji said that her book is torn.
Book was torn.
Okay, suppose Ranji is a male.
His book was torn.
Ranji said that his book
Ranji
was
said that
torn.
his book was
Ranji in my
torn.
lesson is a male. Okay, right. Wonderful. Great.
We thought that she is a girl.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, we should never penalize the child even in the examination if he has confused the his for a her in the names. Please mark them right. If there's a pronouns applied and if it is done logically, right, then don't say, oh, that is Madhu. You might see it as Madhu or Madhu or Rama or Rama. You know, we should not, let the child pay a price for that. His understanding of the change is perfect. So please give him full marks. Facts don't change. This is something we'll have to tell the children. Now we saw what changes and changes and changes. But here, Tom said to Jerry, because my children watch Tom and Jerry, my students at school. So Tom said to Jerry, I'm an American. So can I say he was an American?
He is
I
an
am an
American.
Indian. Can I say I was an Indian?
He is an American. He is an Indian.
Superb. So am becomes is. That's all, right? Wonderful. That he is an American. So this is one aspect which we have to tell the children gently. Facts don't change. Universal truths don't change. Proverbs don't change. A stitch in time saves 9. Saves. I can't say a stitch in time saved 9. I can't change the verb there. I can't change the tense there. Right? I'll continue to say a stitch in time saves 9. Honesty is the best policy. Now, I can't change is to was, which I usually do in the sentences. I should say honesty is the best policy. The sun rises in the east. It does it every day, whether I like it or not. I can't say the sun rose in the east and it's going to change the next day. It's a fact. So the sun, the teacher said that the sun rises in the east. These are all cliche sentences. They're very regular, normal sentences which we use time and again to help the child understand sentences that don't change. All right. Next candidate, please. I want to hear some new voices. Beautiful, lovely voices. Somebody else?
Jane said that had started her work early.
Start, it's only start. So don't get confused with it's start. Present tense. It's present tense. I didn't
Jane
say started.
said that
She
she
started.
starts her work early.
His work early.
Yes. She started. Okay, that confusion of had started, if you think is there, please give it as an example in the class so that the children understand. Start answering me now. Right? Start is present tense. So started is past tense. Next. This is again from our dear lesson. Yeah.
Ravi said to
Now, please observe here. Now there are two subjects. Somebody is reporting to somebody.
He told
What is my
Ravi told
Super.
Kosi that
Yes.
Ravi told
That he might play
Again, modal becomes might. Right.
might. He might.
I becomes he because it's
He
not,
might
yeah, it's not I. He might play
Play the
flute. Yes. Wonderful. Great. Next.
brother said that
My brother said that said
Books
that
are his best friends.
Super. Children usually ask, ma'am, why ma'am? Books might still be his best friends. Now, why can't I say books are my best friends? Please tell them it all depends on the reporting verb. The reporting verb is in past, said is in past. Say is present, said is past. If the reporting verb is in past, I must report it in past. My tense here also changes to past. Books are becomes were, right? So now look at the next one. Here, my brother says. Here, my reporting verb is present. Like I told you in the previous example, put this also at the same time so that the children understand the difference in such sentences. All right, my brother says, books are my best friends. Now, what will be my sentence in reported speech? Yes, I hope I can hear you.
My brother
Suddenly it's all
said that
quiet.
books.
My brother says. Don't change.
my
say.
brother says that
My
the books
brother says that
are his
Are
best friend.
his best friend.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's nice. My brother says that books are his best friends. Now,
Best
teachers, if
friends.
you put this simultaneously at the same time, tell them this situation, tell them this situation, tell them are becoming were is because of the reported verb here, and are remaining are here is because of this reported verb here. I think there should be some clarity and they will not get confused. Got it, teachers? Yeah? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Come on. Quick, please.
Mary told to Jack it was cold that night.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. This is very, very simple. As I told you, I have just kept it to the class 4 and class 5 level. You know, understanding, you know, their the problem that it takes time for them to understand and settle down with these sentences. Yeah. And we give them relatable sentences, which they can easily understand.
He had a
Have becomes had. I becomes he. A new car doesn't change
I
at
had a
all.
new car.
Superb, superb. I want to see more new faces, please, on my screen. Father said.
Father said that
He was busy that night.
He was busy that
Father
night.
said
I
that
am
he was
busy because he was busy. Night becomes that night, it's an adverbial. Said remains said. That is the conjunction that's added. Yes, great. Father said that he was busy that night.
Kamala told that she lived in Delhi.
Leela that he lived
in Delhi.
in Delhi.
He lived
He
in
lives in
Delhi.
Delhi.
Super. Kamala told, said to, please don't allow them to write told to. Correct them if they say told to. Like I told you, you give them.
that night.
Said to,
Was
told
busy
to,
that night.
and told, which is right. So told, they will obviously agree that told is most suitable. So Kamala told Leela that she lived in Delhi. And here again, you can tell another one. Kamala tells Leela. Okay, Kamala tells to Leela, fine, I live in Delhi, in the same sentence. So now how is
She
the...
lives in Delhi.
She lives in Delhi. Superb, superb. So here, please give the comparative there again. Okay, now just so that they understand how interrogative sentences are dealt with. We don't discuss in detail, but here's just a sentence for you. My mother asked, have you brought your books back safely? Because children are used to leaving books back at school. So mother, the first thing she asked, have you brought your books back safely? Have you? So there the pronoun becomes, mother asked if. So there is no that here. What you have to tell the children? Mother asked that. No. Asked is not followed by that. Asked if. Inquired if. Right? Asked if. Have you brought your books back safely? Have you brought? If I had brought your books is my books. Back safely is back safely. And now you look at this here. Now this is a question mark.
Question mark will be removed.
It becomes a period again. It becomes a full stop. Clear, teachers? Clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so this,
Yes, ma'am.
if you just give a 2 or 3 sentences based on this, they will easily understand about interrogative. But we would suggest you don't test them in the examination. Keep it as statement sentences. Now here, this is an exclamatory sentence, just for them to know how things change. The children shouted, "Wow, we are the winners!" Right? Yeah. So the children shouted, or you can say exclaimed, and shouted joyfully. Now the tone here, sadly, then it is sad, joyfully, it is joyful. So here obviously it's a sense of joy, joyfully that. So here we have the conjunction that. We becomes, so you can't make them right. The children exclaimed that, wow, they were the winners. No, the exclamatory word comes in the word. You say exclaimed. So that has the mood of this word wow. So it will not come explained saying wow. We don't write that. We say exclaimed joyfully. It shows okay, wow. So all of these you can say exclaimed joyfully that we are the winners becomes
Were
They were.
were the
They
winners. Okay, thank you.
Sorry,
That's
Anu
nice.
ma'am. 9:45.
I have shot too much out of my yes.
No, no,
I
I'm
can,
just telling you.
I can
Sorry.
understand that. But teachers, has there been some understanding of reported speech and how to tackle this problem? There's always a problem. There's a problem for all of us. So I think there are small ways in which we can actually dissect and try to get things. Each section, what I meant to say here is, let me sum up. Each part, if you take it to them, I think the understanding will be quite good. So now, ma'am, I'm actually going to go to, I have the link which I'll try to access. Now I go to poems. Yesterday, I think Manju ma'am told you wonderfully how you'll be using poems. Right? So you have a very clear understanding as to what poems are. Teachers, what do you look for in poems? How are poems different from prose? How are poems different from prose? Please.
It's musical and it has a lot of rhyming words.
Poetic
And
glances.
And the sentences are not straight.
imagination,
Sentences.
Yeah.
metaphor.
Okay.
And comparison to one thing, ma'am, and comparison also, it will be more well in the poem.
And poems are mainly
lively also.
personification.
Metaphor.
Metaphor, personification.
Okay, great. So are you going to just put in the class metaphor, personification, all of these things? Manju ma'am, is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, very much.
Okay. So as I told you this morning when I began the class, we are going to take, yesterday you had a class 3 poem, The Brook. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
The Brook. So now we are going to just, now the children they have grown older. Overnight, our children, they have grown older and they have come to class 5. And so we are going to take a class 5 poem, which is Tiger. So this is written by Leslie Norris. So if you have been able to go through the poem, what's the title of the poem? What's the title of the poem? Tiger. And who's the poet?
Leslie Norris.
Leslie Norris. All right. As you would have learned yesterday, you state you're going to do poems, and you can write the title of the poem and the poet. And you can share a few things about the poet, maybe his nativity, he belongs to which place, and are there any notable poems that he has written, something else where the children can read, the ones who are interested, they can explore and they can read and find out a few words about the poet if they are in class 5. Class 3 also, I don't think it is so necessary, but here in class 5, yes. Just to speak a few words about the poet, and you can say, yeah, maybe, Vimala, I think I'm going to see a future poet in you. You can just encourage a few children, those who are very poetic, those who have a gen to write poems. You can tell them that they could be future poets and their poems could figure in books like this. All right. So having said that, I put the title Tiger on my board. Now, what are the facts? What are the thoughts that come to the children about tiger? You can share a few thoughts with them. They'll come up with a lot of things. And now you can tell them a poem is a creative expression of a poet. It's not like, suppose I read a paragraph on a tiger and I read this poem on a tiger, you can find there's a lot of difference. Yes, teachers, a prose form, an article written on tigers, anything written on tigers in prose form, and something about a poem. Now you can share a prose written on tiger. Tiger is, it's an endangered animal, it's found in this, that, and all of these, a few lines that you write in a paragraph. And you say, can this be a poem? Can you say the same things in a poem? Obviously not. So you'll have to have your sentences short. You'll have to tweak, as you said, when you have to change your sentences to bring some kind of a rhythmic form, some kind of a rhyme scheme if possible, so that it sounds more poetic. So when you read the poem, it should sound more poetic. And let me just share this poem with you. I go back. Ma'am, actually, one second. Okay. Now I go to the poem animation, or I go to the, I'll go to the animation. Children actually enjoy, and you can also enjoy. If you want just the poem audio, I'll share the poem audio, but I'll do the animation for 2 minutes. Just listen into the poem. We'll see how it is. The intonation that is used, the tone that is used, in what measure.
Tiger, by the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in the shadow, sliding through the long grass, near the waterhole, where plump deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, wearing his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. But he is locked in a concrete cell, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars.
Oh, we just heard an audio, it was faint. Now I'll start the first stanza. Now when we introduce a poem, we'll have to tell them that they are not paragraphs in a poem, they are stanzas. All right, and this poem has how many stanzas? Anybody who has read the poem yesterday, can you tell me how many stanzas in this poem? Yes, please. How many stanzas? Sujita ma'am.
Five.
5 stanzas. Very good.
5, ma'am.
Not 5 paragraphs. There are 5 stanzas, and each stanza has how many lines? We call it lines of the poem. How many lines in each stanza?
4 lines. 4 lines.
4 lines in each stanza. Wonderful. That's nice.
Four stanzas have 4 lines. One has 2 lines.
One has 2 lines. Which stanza, ma'am? Which stanza has 2 lines?
Fourth one.
Fourth stanza. Well, I find my 4th stanza here having, he should be snarling is my 3rd stanza, but he is locked in a concrete cell, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. All right. Okay. Got it.
Oh, that's 3rd one. The one which you read now is 3rd one.
Yes. All right. So now, ma'am, he stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Right. Now I go 2nd stanza. Who is going to go for it? 2nd stanza, please. Someone who has not unmuted so far, please. Someone, Gayatri ma'am, are you there? Someone who has not unmuted.
Shall I?
Padmavati ma'am, yes, sure ma'am.
He should be lurking in the shadow, sliding through the long grass near the water hole where some deer pass.
Wonderful. A little slow ma'am, slightly.
You want me to read it slow, ma'am?
Yes, slightly, if you were this thing lower. Yeah.
He should be lurking in the shadow, sliding through the long grass near the water hole where some deer pass.
Great. Wonderful. Now, can I have Durga ma'am? I think she tried to. The next stanza.
He should be standing around the houses at the jungle's edge, wearing his white pants, his claws, terracing the village.
Terrorizing the village, right?
The village.
Superb. Very good. Yes, next. Next, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, please.
But he is locked in a concrete cell, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors.
You can continue, ma'am.
He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars.
Super. Wonderful, ma'am. Thank you all for reciting this poem so well. Thank you so much. So now, when you read the poem, ask the students, ask the children to read it quietly once. Now you ask them, what is the mood of the poem? What does it speak about a tiger? What are the answers that you can expect from them? What is the mood of the poem? It's one of pathos. Okay, it's a troubling fact. Okay, is the tiger portrayed in all its magnificence and with all its freedom and a happy tiger here?
No, ma'am, no.
Yeah, or a tiger that has its hands tied. Yes, curtailing its freedom. That's the message. That's the tone you get. Yes. Yes, teachers. Okay, so you can talk about the mood of the poem. And then what else are you going to say? What is the other aspect you're going to portray? What is the other aspect you're going to highlight in the poem? You already know, enough about the poem, how to introduce a poem, what's a poem, everything. Yesterday it was there in the session. So now we are going to be specific to this particular poem. What are the aspects we can bring out in this poem?
Freedom, ma'am. Freedom.
Freedom versus
slavery.
On one side, but here there is
in chains.
Confined in chains. The tiger is confined. It has lost its freedom. Right? Ideally, in a normal setting, how should a tiger be? Has a tiger done some crime? Is the tiger a prisoner?
No.
But where is he?
He is in prison.
He is locked in a cell, like a prisoner. How should he have been? How should he have been ideally? How do you visualize a tiger? What answers will the children give you? How do you think a tiger will be?
Very free in the forest.
In the forest, roaming around freely through the expanse of the forest, right? And what would he be doing in the forest? You can give him a clue. What would he do when he is hungry?
Trying to catch his prey.
Will he call up some Swiggy, Zomato or something, go to his mother, I need food, go to somebody and say, provide me some meat. Yes? Does he do it?
No, ma'am.
What does he do?
He hunt for animals.
He goes chasing for his prey, looking for his prey. What does he go? Does he go with a loud noise? Hey, I'm coming to attack you. That kind of a thing. How does he go? Yes, how does he go? stealthily he goes looking for his prey. And where is he likely to find his prey? The tiger is smart. So where does he go looking? Where does he go looking?
Water.
Near the water hole. Because that's where animals obviously come to quench their thirst. They come there to quench their thirst, right? Right. So they go, he searches near the water hole. Does he bare himself? Hey, I'm coming, I'm the tiger. I am there. What does he go? He goes stealthily. He tries to hide behind the tall grass. And then he goes there and tries to attack when the time is. He leaps, he chases and he attacks. And he gets his prey, right? That's what the tiger does. And that's the nature of a tiger, right? In contrast, what is he doing here? Where is he stalking here? Where is he walking? Through the forest, freely, breathing freely. Where is he now?
Inside
Where is he now? Look at the first stanza.
Inside the cage.
Yeah, he's inside. He's locked inside the cage. He stalks. Yes, he walks. His vivid stripes. The tiger is the same. Stripes are vivid. His appearance is majestic. But where is he walking now? The second line. Just a few steps of his cage. Why you should have been walking through the length and breadth of that wide forest. He is walking through the cage on pads of velvet quiet. Now, the pads, the paws of the tiger, so that is, now here you can quickly take, because I'm just rushing through. I'm trying to put it in a capsule very quickly because the time is 10. But I have a request for all of you teachers. Please give me a few more minutes, maybe 10 to 15 minutes as we go through this lesson. This wonderful poem, so beautifully written and which has captured the mood of animals in. Now you can ask the children, where is this tiger? Where is he holed up? He is not in the forest, obviously. Where is he holed up?
In a cage.
In a cage. In the... Where are cages? Where do you find tigers in the cage? The zoo, right? So now the poet shifts between the tiger in the forest, that is his natural habitat, where he should have been, to where he actually is. He actually is locked up in a cell, in a cage, just so that visitors can come and take the joy of viewing the tiger at the cost of his freedom. He should have been free, but just because, no, we have to see him in the zoo, we would like to see him in the zoo, he is kept locked up in the zoo. Now, this particular poem has a scope for so many, kindling so many thoughts amongst the children. Okay, is it right? Is it ethical? Are we right in confining our animals in the zoo? And what should we be doing? How should animals be taken care of? Would you like to be kept imprisoned in a cage just because somebody likes to come and look at you and meet you? Is it right? So all of these thoughts we can ask the children and we can make them think. We can just kickstart their thinking process, right? And so we go back to the lesson now. So he stalks in his vivid stripes a few steps of his cage, a few steps. While will he be just walking a few steps in the jungle? No. He'll be walking miles and miles in the jungle, right? So on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. Now ask the children to look at this word, quiet and quiet. The word is the same. What is the mood? What is the mood here? What does it convey? What does this quiet convey in contrast to this quiet? Here, it's the velvet quiet in the sense he tries to walk quietly. He has this, God has, made these paws so that he can just walk without making any noise, quietly when he goes searching for his prey. But here, the very next line says, in his quiet rage. Now look at this, quiet rage. Here there's a poetic device called oxymoron. They are contrasting, quiet rage. He's quiet, but he has suppressed all his anger. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like his confinement. Okay, but he's helpless. He can't go out. He can't leap out of the cage. He can't manage to escape out into the jungle, although he would love to. He's in confinement and he's walking quietly. He doesn't roar. He doesn't make a lot of noise. But the quietness, is it because he's peaceful and he's quiet. Is it that? No, he's angry, but he has to suppress his anger. He's irritated. He doesn't like it, but he has to accept it because that is his fate. He's in a zoo now, right? Now, he stalks the few steps. So this is what is the scene. But what should have been the scene? The very next stanza says, he should be lurking in the shadows, sliding through the long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. He should have been there, but he's here. That's the contrast. Now again, the poet says, what should he have been doing here? He should be snarling around houses. So in the day, he does this, lurking in the shadow, trying to get his prey in the day. What does he do in the night? He should be snarling around houses. At the jungle's edge, he walks and he snarls and he terrorizes people. That's the nature of the tiger, right? Baring his white fangs, his claws. So now the poet uses these words, white fangs and claws. These are the features of the tiger, fangs and sharp claws. Why has he been given this? Has God endowed him with all this to be locked up in a place? To just be in a place to submit to some small enclosure? No. Ideally, he's a ferocious animal. He's a wild animal, and this is how he should have been, terrorizing the villages. That is his natural, that is the natural tiger. Tiger in its nature, tiger in its habitat. But again, the very next stanza again comes back to a but he is locked in a concrete cell. So see how the poet takes us between what is happened here, what should have been, what should have been the case with the tiger, where he should have been, what he should have been doing, what is his nature, what is he having. He's an animal with, he's an animal who has these sharp claws. Again, that is for him to hunt his prey, right? But what is happening here in his confinement? He is locked in a concrete cell, stalking. Now look at that stalking there. Here also he's stalking in his vivid stripes, but he should have been walking through the jungle. Again, the poet says he's stalking the length of the cage, ignoring visitors. Is he interested in all of us who's coming to see? Suppose somebody comes to meet us and asks for autograph. You're excited. Wow, so many people are coming to meet me. But here in the zoo, is the tiger really interested in his villagers? I have a lack of visitors today. I have so many people coming to see me. Is he excited about it? No, he's hardly excited about it because he misses where he has to be. He misses his home because this is not his home, right? He hears, and finally he ends the day ends. He hears the last voice at night. What is it? Finally, the patrolling cars in a zoo, long after the people have left. The patrolling people, they come to see if everything is in place or all the animals locked up in the cage. I hope there is nobody lurking around in the zoo. So they go on a patrol like a watchman. They go around to check if things are all right and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So there is a lot of repetition here, the poetic device, repetition, stark, brilliant, and all these words. And look at these two lines. He stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So how are the tiger's eyes? Sparkling, right? It's with all energy, all, ferocity, rage, brilliant eyes, because he has to have a very good eyesight. And what is he staring at? At the brilliant stars. How are the stars? Brilliantly, they are shining. But look at the contrast. From where is the tiger, staring? He is staring from confinement with his brilliant eyes. Eyes are brilliant. He's staring at the brilliant stars. And where are the stars? The stars are where they have to be. On the night sky, on the sky there. Yeah, but is the tiger where he has to be? He is not where he has to be. He is in confinement and he is looking at the stars, which are just free. From confinement, he's looking at freedom and he longs for that freedom. So that is the mood. There are several poetic devices, teachers, here. There's a metaphor. There is no simile as such, but there are metaphors. What are the metaphors here? What are the metaphors here? I take you to the first and second stanza. What are the metaphors here? I'm pointing it out to you. Please tell me. What are the metaphors? Am I
Without
not?
Velvet to the
Pads of velvet. Pads of velvet. So you can see, so the pads, the paws, it's like velvet. How is velvet? It's so soft. It's so soft, right? So that way he's saying he has pads. His pads, paws are like velvet, right? So that he can be quiet. He can move around quietly, right? So that is one metaphor. Any other metaphor? Any other metaphor here? Any other metaphor? Is there any alliteration in any of the lines? Is there any alliteration? Yes. Is there any alliteration here? Look at the first line.
Stalk.
Yes.
Vivid stripes. Stalk stripes.
Yes. Stalks in his velvet stripes. Stir and stir. Yes, alliteration. I hope I don't have to explain these devices to you. You know, they are the same sound. Yes, very good. Any other alliteration here?
And in the second stanza, plump and pass.
Should the shadow. The first line of this. Second. Should
shadow.
Yeah, he should be lurking in the shadow. The sound. So alliterative words occur in poems to make it poetic, to make it sound, it's nice to when you read. Okay, he should be walking in the jungle. If I say, it doesn't sound poetic. Now, if I say he should be lurking in the shadow, so and sure. So that's an alliteration. Any other alliteration? Any other alliteration that you can see? Sorry?
Last line.
I am unable to hear you. Durga ma'am. Yes?
Ma'am, in the fourth line,
Yeah.
plump and pass. Second stanza, ma'am. Plump and pass.
Plump dear pass. And per. Perfect, ma'am. Excellent. So we saw a metaphor, we saw alliteration, and now what are the rhyming words here? Stripes, cage, quiet, rage.
Quiet and rage.
Cage and
rage.
Cage and rage.
Very good. Cage and rage. Stripes and quiet is not rhyming, but in the first stanza we have a pair of rhyming words, that's cage and rage. So please ask them to let them not say the rhyming word is stalks and stripes. No, if there's a word in between, let them not pick. They have to only look at the ending words of the stanzas. Clear? All right. In the second stanza, shadow.
Grass pass.
Grass and pass. Grass and pass. Okay. Houses, edge, clause, village.
Edge, village.
Edge and village. Right. So the second line and the fourth lines, they are rhyming. All right. Now I go to the last stanza. Night. Stars
and stars.
Yeah, so it is written in a particular way. It is written in a particular poetic style. It is written to match a particular rhyming style, right? So that's what we observe in a poem. So next we have alliteration, we have metaphor, we saw rhyming words, and there is imagery. Now, when you read, when you were actually, narrating, when you were actually reciting the poem, he stalks in his velvet stripes, the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rage. He should be lurking in the shadow, sliding through the long grass near the water hole where plump deer pass. Did we all have an image in our minds about how he should be lurking in the shadow through the long grass without being seen, and how he tries to go near the water hole where he will find plump deer pass? Did you have images of all this in your mind when we were reading this? Yes, we surely had. So that's imagery. So if a poem brings an image, a set of images, a set of scenes, if it plays in our mind, that's imagery. Now look at this. He in the second stanza, he in the third stanza, he in the first stanza, right? All of this is what? That is personification. You're addressing the tiger as if he's a person, right? So that is personification. So humans, we say he, she to humans. But here, if you're going to address, suppose you're going to say wind, you are so strong. So I'm trying to personify wind. Rain, you are so gentle. I'm trying to personify rain by saying you. So that is personification. All right. So next we have repetition. Repetition, yes, we have already seen, I already told you how it is repeated. Quiet, quiet and quiet. And then here we had another repetition. What is it? He should be.
Brilliant.
He should be. Where he should have been. Where he should have been. Just to show contrast about where he is. Where he should have been and where he is. So they are repetitions here. Quiet and quiet. He should and he should. And then we saw there was an oxymoron in the very first stanza. Quiet rage. That is contrasting ideas in his quiet rage. Both are not matching, but that shows the mood of the tiger. In his quiet rage, he's quietly, as I told you, because he's suppressed his anger. He's quietly walking. He is irritated. He is irritable. But yet he is trying to put up with all this disturbance, with all these problems, right? Because that is his fate. He is locked up in a zoo. All right. Anything else that you would like to bring from this poem? What else will you like to discuss from this poem? So here, after you discuss these, if you ask your students to read this poem once again, they understand very clearly what the author is trying to tell us, what the poet is trying to tell us. Okay, what is he trying to speak for? He's trying to speak about the distress that animals in the zoo face. Now we can try to, you can have sessions, it can go long and on, where you have a debate about what is right, what is wrong. You know, some of them might say, yes, but we can keep them, you know, as happily as they can, you know, as natural as they can. A tiger should be hunting for food. In a zoo, does he hunt for food? He is fed. But that's not the normal practice. That is not how a tiger is designed. That's not the normal, lifestyle of the tiger, right? So how is it in the zoo? But if we have to see the animals, it does give us a lot of pleasure. If there's a beautiful zoo, Singapore, if we say, what do we speak of? Oh, I visited Singapore Zoo. It was awesome. So zoo gives a lot of pleasure to humans also. To view the animals, can we all go and dare and go into the jungle? We can't. So that is ironic, but that is the fact in life. Animals are in the zoo, but what we can tell our children is when they go to the zoo, try not to agitate these animals. Let's try not to disturb them, throwing stones, because already they are in quiet rage. They are disturbed. So we can see that, you know, we don't make sounds, we don't hoot at them, where we try to make them more tense, right? So these are the things that we can say, okay, if zoos are inevitable, if zoos are there to stay, at least we should know how to be responsible, how to behave responsibly in a zoo. So going back to this poem by Leslie Norris, so we can have the poetic devices, we can explain the gist of the poem, the theme of the poem. Now, what's the theme of the poem? Now, what does Leslie Norris actually try to, there are, very sorry, I've overshot by 20 minutes. What is the theme of the poem? Kirtana ma'am, it's a new name. I haven't seen you. I'm able to see you on my screen now. If you're there, what is the theme of the poem? Finally, we'll have to get them to understand what's the theme of the poem. Yes? You have to unmute, Kirtana ma'am. Kirtana ma'am. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? What is the theme of the poem?
Confinement.
The freedom of the animals should not be disturbed.
Exactly. How the freedom of animals is curtailed when animals are kept in the zoo. All right, the state of the animals, the pathetic condition of animals in the zoo. All right. So that is the theme of the poem. Okay, I mean, are we being human towards them? It's kind of an inhuman attitude is what the poet feels. That's what the poet feels. The poet feels that we are not doing the right thing. Why? Where should the tiger be? How should he be? Okay, he says, finally, you look at this. This in the last two lines, he says, he stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. There's a repetition again here, but the two brilliances are different. Here, the brilliant star is where the star has to be, free, out in the sky, but he stares from his confinement, as his picture beautifully portrays, from his confinement with his brilliant eyes. He stares at the brilliant stars, which are where they have to be, but here he is not where he has to be. So that is ironic in this with Zeus and what we do to animals on earth, right? So that's the idea. So, all right, teachers, anything else? First of all, let me thank you so much for being patient for more than 1.5 hours. And I hope you learned some things from the session. We had designed a direct and reported speech and a poem for class in level 5. How do we introduce a poem? How do we get the child to think about? How do we make them analyze the poem? How do we get them to understand the poem, the poetic devices in the poem, and many more factors that speaks, because this poem speaks the poet's mind. This is what Leslie Norris feels about the state of tigers. And we can also, take them across to 2 or 3 more poems which are written on the same lines about the confinement of animals. And when we give a poem in a question paper, when we test the students for poems, we should make sure that we take titles or we take things that children can easily relate to. Flowers, animals, vehicles, all right, butterflies, bees, birds. Now, if you do a search, poems on birds, level 5, poems on insects, level 5, poems on frogs, level 5, poems on ducks, level 5. So if you know what the child can actually relate and you can pick such poems, poem comprehension in exam will not be a big challenge for our students. So that's very important. When you give a poem, like Manju ma'am would have told you level 3 yesterday, level 3. So you search for a level 3 poem. You first try to understand if this poem can be understood by a child of age 7. If this poem can be understood by a child of age 9, can he understand this poem? Can he relate to this poem? Will he be able to understand? Go through the poem. Just don't randomly, search for poem, pick a poem and give it. And also the poem should not be too long. When we test for examination, the poem should not have, say, 7 stanzas, 8 stanzas. Try to restrict to 3 stanzas, when they are beginners, 2, 3, 4 or 5 stanzas, maximum 4 stanzas should be fine when they go to level 4 and 5, so that they can comprehend the poem, and the title, the whatever the poem is speaking about should also be relatable by them, by the student. So search like that, go and search like that. Flowers, level 5, animals, level 5, vehicles, level 5. And then you can give them poems which they can, otherwise the minute they look at a poem comprehension, they feel, oh no, this is something which I can't understand, which I can't comprehend. So let that not be the case. Expose them to poems. And there was another section which I actually missed about how we can make children write poems, but I missed out. I don't have time for that. Thanks a lot.